In the silent depths of the ancient tomb, where time itself seemed to have hardened into stone, a sharp sound suddenly tore through the stillness. "Shoot!" Without warning, the stone statue beside Ling Han awakened as if stirred by a slumbering spirit. Its eyes, though lifeless, seemed to flicker with intent as it drove a fist forward with ruthless force, aiming straight for him. Ling Han did not retreat. His gaze sharpened, his breath steady as a mountain unmoved by wind. He clenched his own fist, channeling the power within his body, and met the incoming strike head-on. Peng! The collision echoed like thunder trapped within a cavern. The stone statue staggered backward, its heavy form scraping against the ground. Though it possessed the strength of the early stage of the consummate level, it was utterly overwhelmed. Ling Han's power had already surged beyond 5 stars. His strike carried the might of the late stage of the consummate level. Against such force, the statue could only yield. Yet the trial had only just begun. As if awakened by the clash, countless other stone statues stirred to life. One after another, they moved with chilling coordination, some leaping high into the air like falling meteors, others charging directly forward like unstoppable beasts. Their attacks came without mercy, each strike aimed to kill. Ling Han's expression remained calm, but his mind was clear. This was precisely why he had not allowed Xue Yanyu and Ding Ping to enter this formation. Here a single misstep could cost one's life. Even retreat was no simple matter. To withdraw from this formation required not only intent, but overwhelming strength. Without it, one would be crushed before even reaching the edge, and the evidence lay scattered all around. Blood stained the ground, broken limbs lay abandoned. Corpses, some fresh, some long since dried, marked the path of those who had failed. Yet amidst this grim battlefield, brilliance shone. Ling Han's eyes swept across the formation, noticing numerous extraordinary geniuses. Some of them rivaled Xia Wuk in strength, casually sweeping aside the stone statues with a single hand. Their movements were composed, their expressions calm, as if this deadly trial were nothing more than a game. It became clear to Ling Han that the number of prodigies within this tomb far exceeded what he had previously encountered. Not all travelled alone. Some were surrounded by weaker followers, others accompanied by powerful seniors. There were also those who walked solitary paths, though even they were not truly alone. Sun-Moon tier guardians lurked in the shadows, unseen yet ever present. Of course, such elites would not appear within this formation. This battlefield belonged solely to Mountain River tier cultivators. Perhaps deeper within the tomb, there existed formations meant for the Sun-Moon tier or even the Heavenly Body tier. But for those here, such trials were beyond reach. They could only gaze upon them from afar. Meanwhile, the tension within the formation was not limited to stone statues alone. The prodigies themselves were already beginning to clash. This expedition would eventually lead to the majestic Heaven sect recruiting new disciples. Many present would become fellow disciples, and thus, rivals, competition had already begun. Yet Ling Han drew no attention. Though he continued advancing, he did not do so with overwhelming dominance. His cultivation level remained relatively low compared to the top prodigies, and thus he appeared unremarkable amidst the chaos. Instead, it was the battles between the leading geniuses that captured everyone's gaze. Outside the formation, countless spectators gathered along the edges, watching intently. They wished to know who would break through first, who would stand above all others. Under such scrutiny, the fighting spirit of the prodigies burned even brighter. And it was not only the young who refused to yield. Older Mountain River tier cultivators also entered the fray, unwilling to be overshadowed. Though they had yet to reach the Sun-Moon tier, their foundations were incredibly solid. Through countless methods, they had refined their battle prowess to astonishing levels. Among them, Ling Han noticed one elder activating a turtle shell god tool. Its surface shimmered with dozens of divine patterns, radiating light that formed a protective barrier. Blow after blow from the stone statues struck it, yet it remained unbroken. Such a treasure naturally drew envy from all who saw it. Within the formation, every individual revealed their unique path. Some relied purely on raw strength, others depended on powerful god tools, and those with neither could only retreat to the sides lest they be beaten to death. At the forefront, Xia Wuke continued to lead. Though others were gradually closing the distance, none had yet surpassed him. Being at the front came with immense pressure. Thus those behind chose patience over haste, allowing others to bear the brunt while they conserved their strength. Voices rose among the spectators. Xiaowuke is leading. Who is Xiaowuk? He's a prince of the domineering summer majestic empire, the #1 prodigy of the great growth planet. It's said the domineering Sun Emperor sent him to a small world to open the sky and receive the blessings of heaven and earth. He's destined to become a heavenly body tier elite, perhaps even a legendary 5-star genius. 5-star genius? No wonder he's ahead of everyone. And the Emperor gave him a small world to cultivate in. What terrifying power. But don't underestimate the others. Second place is Xiao Sisi, princess of the Thousand Frost majestic empire. She also opened the sky in a small world. Having powerful parents truly changes everything. Third is Su Jing of the large stream sect. His strength runs deep. And fourth is Duan, another formidable prodigy. These four stood at the pinnacle, forming the first tier. Their strength far surpassed the rest, thanks to their experience of opening the sky. Even if they lacked 5 complete mountains and rivers, their power alone exceeded 6 stars. Such might was terrifying. Even Ling Han knew he could not face them directly. Behind them, the second tier followed, slightly weaker, yet still formidable. Many among them were older mountain river tier cultivators, including the elder with the turtle shell god tool. The third tier consisted of prodigies with around 3-star battle prowess, all at the peak stage of the consummate level. The fourth tier, where Ling Han currently stood, comprised those with 2-star battle prowess, also at the peak stage. As for those behind, they had only just entered, and many had already been eliminated. Ling Han moved steadily, unhurried. To him, this was not merely a trial, it was an opportunity. Like the Rain Emperor and Feng Po Yun, he was a cultivator who thrived in battle. Yet his recent rapid advancement had left him lacking in real combat experience. This endless formation was the perfect training ground. Each strike, each clash, honed his strength further. If one observed carefully, they would notice something unusual. Every stone statue struck by Ling Han teetered on the verge of collapse. Only the mysterious power of the formation allowed them to recover. Otherwise, his blows would have shattered them completely. Then, a subtle change. After advancing an unknown distance, Ling Han's expression shifted slightly. Something was different. When the fists of the stone statues struck his body, he felt pain. It was faint, but unmistakable. This was impossible. His physique rivaled level 4 godly metal. How could attacks from the early stage of the consummate level harm him? He narrowed his eyes, observing closely, and then he saw it. A divine pattern had appeared upon the fists of the stone statues. It was this pattern that altered everything. Their raw power had not increased, but the nature of their attacks had changed, becoming far more dangerous. Peng, peng, peng! The entire formation erupted into chaos. Cries of agony rang out from the latter tiers. Ah! Some prodigies were beaten beyond recognition, their bodies unable to endure the enhanced attacks. Panic spread as they rushed toward the edges, seeking escape. Some succeeded, others did not. Caught in a relentless storm of fists, they were struck down where they stood, reduced to lifeless corpses, unrecognizable upon the blood-stained ground. Only now did everyone truly understand. The formation had grown stronger, the trial had become deadlier, and those who could not adapt would be buried here forever. The winds of trial howled like ancient beasts across the battlefield, and beneath their unseen roar, countless eyes trembled with disbelief. This! Voices rose from both sides, pale faces stretched tight with shock as the impossible unfolded before them. The formation had barely been breached, only 1/10 of its path conquered. Yet already the stone puppets had grown fiercer, their strikes heavier, their killing intent sharper than blades drawn from the abyss. "How can they continue?" someone whispered, their voice quivering. "They've barely begun, and already the puppets have grown stronger." "It will only worsen from here. Surely it will only become more terrifying." "Then this path, is it not a road of death?" Doubt spread like frost through the crowd, heads shook in silent resignation. To many, this formation was no longer a test, it was an impossibility. And yet, within that storm of despair, 4 distinct tides of prodigies pressed forward. The fourth tier, once the most numerous, a vast sea of eager cultivators, began to crumble the moment they crossed into what many believed to be the second segment of the formation. Like leaves caught in a violent gale, they fell one by one, retreating or perishing beneath relentless blows. Time passed, and their numbers dwindled until only a handful remained, barely more than the mere 4 figures of the first tier. A murmur rippled through the watchers. As the masses vanished, those who remained became impossible to ignore. Among them, one figure drew all eyes like a blazing star in a darkened sky. Ling Han. "I can't believe it," someone exclaimed. "That man, he's only at the high extreme of the mountain river tier. And look closely, he hasn't even formed his 3rd river yet. He hasn't reached the late stage. And yet, he's come this far? This defies reason. Is he even human?" Suspicion flickered among them. He must possess some extraordinary treasure, something that shields him from harm. Yes, that must be it. Agreement spread quickly, for no other explanation seemed plausible. How could someone of such limited cultivation endure the endless assault of the stone statues? Their strikes were unceasing, their ferocity unwavering. How could his origin power possibly sustain him? What they did not know was that Ling Han's strength did not rely solely upon origin power. Within him flowed the strength of body arts, a resilience forged through pain and refinement. While others burned through their energy like candles in the wind, Ling Han's vitality surged and recovered, an endless tide that refused to recede. Thus, as the trial dragged on, the battlefield grew emptier. From thousands to hundreds, most of the fallen belonged to the 4th tier, either fleeing in fear or crushed beneath merciless stone fists. Blood and pride alike were left scattered along the path. Now the 2nd and 3rd tiers stood as the dominant forces. Around 100 remained in the 1st tier, 300 in the 2nd. And in the extremes, the 1st and 4th tiers, only single digits endured. Yet even as death loomed ever closer, the flames of youth burned hotter. Fight! 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 Their blood surged, their pride refused to bend. If this trial exists, one thought, then it must be passable. And if it can be passed, why should it not be me? Such conviction was a double-edged blade. It could carve a path to greatness or lead one straight into ruin. Time flowed like a silent river, and after 2 hours, the 1st tier finally approached the mark of 2/10 through the formation. All eyes sharpened. They had already witnessed the surge in power at the first 10th. Now, anticipation tightened every heart. When would the next transformation come? And then it happened. As they crossed the 20% mark, the stone statues awakened once more. A second divine pattern ignited upon their fists. Ah! The cry of despair tore through the air. The elder wielding the turtle shell was the first to fall. His treasured artifact had endured wave after wave of punishment, its protective glow flickering like a dying star. But now, under the enhanced fury of the puppets, its divine patterns faltered. The glow dimmed, cracked and shattered into 7 broken fragments. In that instant, his protection vanished. Before he could even think to flee, the storm descended. Blows rained upon him without mercy, crushing, tearing, obliterating. He was reduced to pulp, his life extinguished before escape could even be imagined. I'm out. The illusion of invincibility shattered alongside the turtle shell. Pride gave way to fear. Many prodigies chose retreat, swallowing their arrogance in the face of brutal reality. This was only the 3rd stage. 7 more stages lay ahead. Each would only grow more terrifying. Is this truly something a mountain river tier cultivator can accomplish? But even as despair spread, one figure refused to fall. Ling Han. The last survivor of the 4th tier. All others had fled, or died, and yet he remained. Eyes turned toward him once more. Who is this man? He's not the only one with treasures, yet he's the only one at the high extreme still standing. Freak, he must be a freak. Then, from within the crowd, a voice rose. He is the #1 prodigy of the Chaotic Star's majestic empire from the Joint Peace Planet. He ascended from a small world just 2 years ago, after opening the sky. Silence fell. What? Disbelief surged like thunder. Before, they had marveled at his strength despite his low cultivation. Now they were struck by something even more terrifying. His speed. 2 years. From the shattering void tier to the high extreme of the mountain river tier. But such a thought could not be denied. Others from the same empire confirmed it. No one would lie about such a matter. It would be exposed sooner or later. Thus, the truth stood. Ling Han was not merely talented, he was monstrous. As the trial continued, the remaining 400 dwindled to less than 200. This time, it was the third tier that suffered most, plummeting from over 300 to barely 30. The second tier also lost members, though more than 100 still stood. A voice chuckled lightly. "Let's make a guess. When do you think that High Extreme Cultivator will finally fall?" Speculation erupted. Voices overlapped, each offering their own prediction. Yet no wagers were placed. These were strangers from over 100 stars. Trust was as scarce as mercy in this formation. "Master will definitely make it through," Ding Ping declared, fists clenched. "Of course," the Asura Demon Emperor added without hesitation. "Master is unmatched beneath the heavens. Even if this formation were 10 times longer, he would still conquer it." Shu Yanyu could not help but grimace slightly. Her faith in Ling Han was unwavering, but the Demon Emperor's flattery had long since crossed into shameless territory. Meanwhile, the battlefield shifted once more. Even the first tier, those supreme prodigies, began to slow. Xiao Wuke, Xiao Sisi, even they felt the crushing weight of endless attacks, their movements growing strained. But amidst this slowing tide, one man moved differently. Ling Han, he surged forward, step by step. He caught up to the third tier, until the fourth tier ceased to exist entirely, for he alone remained. Shock rippled through the observers like a thunderclap. This is madness. He's not speeding up. The others are slowing down. And yet, he continues at the same pace. A chilling realization dawned upon them all. With each step, the pressure increased, yet Ling Han alone remained unaffected. Has the world gone mad? How can someone like him still only be at the high extreme of the mountain river tier? In truth, Ling Han felt little strain. The puppets could not truly injure him, only cause fleeting pain. Without real wounds, there was no need to invoke the regenerative might of the indestructible Heaven's Scroll, and beyond that, he still held many hidden cards. Time marched on. Another 2 hours passed. The first tier stepped into the fourth stage, and once more the formation evolved. The stone statues grew more terrifying, 3 divine patterns now blazing upon their fists. Though their raw power had not increased, the presence of these patterns elevated their combat prowess to a shocking degree. The battlefield trembled, and at last, even the second tier began to falter. Their numbers started to fall.